what is going on? Welcome to
the Heart Healthy Hustle Show with my good friend, Jonathan Frederick.
This is another solo episode.
What are you getting after? What seeds are you planting? What are you overcoming? Think big. Think even bigger. Take some risks. God's got your back. Go for it. Don't hold back. Don't ever have regrets in your life. Go fail. Go grow from those things. Live your life.
Your identity is not defined by your successes or your failures.
If you're not happy where you're at, you won't be happy where you're going. Choose to do the things that will make you the person you want to be, that will make you a better person next week and next year.
You're going to have to leave some things you're actually good at behind so that you can find what you're wired for, what you're born for.
Being a world-class entrepreneur is being in every area of life excellent.
It is the little things that are so easy not to do.
The best thing that you can do is assume the best in people.
I want people around the world to believe they can do something great with their life.
If I build the biggest business, but I destroy my physical body and I lose my health, I don't think that's success. While you're on the journey climbing to success, never forget the things that matter most.
People who are driven and they have a sickening work ethic still fail at times. Sometimes you win. Welcome back to another episode of the Heart Healthy Hustle Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Frederick. Today, I'm going to talk about why your side hustle, even your business, isn't working. There are no hacks. There are no shortcuts. The key point is pre-commitment. I'm going to share a story with you. A beautiful thing that will help carry you through times of doubt, discouragement, uncertainty, confusion is the pre-commitment that you made ahead of time. That pre-commitment can carry you when you don't feel like it. There are so many side hustles that I've started and willingly, I didn't actually quit, but it wasn't the right time and I recognized that it wasn't the right time for those, but maybe later I'll come back to them. There's been a few of those. The only thing in my life that has been consistent are the things that I pre-commit to. I'll give you an example. This podcast. I pre-committed that this will continue for at least 3 years. Regardless of how the process goes, it will continue for 3 years. Will it be the same? No. Will it change? Of course. It's going to change like crazy. But that pre-commitment is why your side hustle, that side gig, that extra thing you decided you're going to do to make some extra cash, that extra job maybe that you hold to make just cash to pay off debt faster with, coming out of college or whatever you have debt from, bad investment going bad, what have you, anything. That pre-commitment wasn't there, or else you'd still be going at it. You'd have pivoted, adjusted, started running Facebook ads, using YouTube ads, recording yourself on your phone, making commercials, trying, failing. And I can look at myself. I'll give you an example. I have a drone sitting over here in my room. I use it. I'm not saying I've quit. I'm not saying it's even on the back burner because I do use it when I get called for a job. Because of my schedule at this point, I will do them when a friend calls for cash on hand, but I'm not running promotions for it. That is one of the fundamental reasons people quit. This is why this episode is relevant. It's relevant because people who are driven and they have a sickening work ethic still fail at times. Sometimes you win. That's my hope for you, is that you would win and that you would be consistent and continue. But the reason so many people start and try and then stop is because that pre-commitment wasn't there. That pre-commitment must be there for it to succeed long term. It just has to be. I got up, I'm tired, I hurt my shoulder today, I played tennis, I worked out for 2 hours. I've been eating more junk food recently than I have in a long time, and I'm not sure why. It's just bad cravings. I wouldn't even call it cravings. It's just weird. So my energy has been off. I went and invested in about $80 worth of food today, and 90% of that was live produce. You take balancing active steps, but I believe it's the pre-commitment that's really the sauce. Everyone I talk to, all my friends who are winning at what they're doing, I believe it's the pre-commitment that I'm going to do this, rain or shine. And honestly, the good times wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for the hard times. Hard times are good too. Try to learn to enjoy them. What I try to do is I'm not saying I'm happy all the time. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm always high energy, because I'm not. I usually am. Thank God for that. I'm not saying taking credit for that, but there are action steps that I take actively. Health plays a huge deal. It's comprehensive health, right? You can have an amazing, I look at so many people as well. People take extremes because you get good at something and people get tunnel vision on it. And because they're romantic about how good they are at this one thing, even if they can't monetize it, I see people become tunnel vision and they're going broke in the process because, and not even just financially, but maybe they're going emotionally, spiritually broke because they're so focused on building an incredible physique that they spend all their money on food, all their time getting in multiple workouts, working on mobility, and for what? For what? Can you monetize that? And respect to the grind, respect to the hustle, respect to the work ethic and the grit that you have to do all that. That's just one small example. And I'm not even knocking that example. My point is, for me, it could be, all right, am I really assessing things honestly here? How can I leverage my podcast to increase my personal cash flow? How can I leverage my relationships to where we're mutually more productive in society together, whether that's through giving, serving together, even doing business together? So you always want to be, and leverage sounds weird when you combine it with the word relationship, but I promise you, business-minded people don't think of it that way. You want to always be looking to help meet people's selfish needs, selfish desires, as long as they're ethical. That's how you do business. And I was talking over Father's Day, I was talking to my dad. I'm blessed to know him. Shout out to you, Pops, if you hear this episode. Much love. I was talking with him, and I started asking him questions about my pop-up, who was his father. And because I'm curious to know how I'm developing into, as a man, if I've been picking up any of the things that he left as his legacy. And I was listening to my dad talk about my pop-up and how he showed up in the world, and a lot of great things. One of the things was he was a sales professional for, I think, the largest steel company in the United States, and he was very good with people, but he was also aware of people's motives and aware of people's desire to do well, and they're selfish and personal, aware of the fact that people are driven by selfish motives. And it's not necessarily to say that's the only thing that drives people, because self-righteous people are already getting annoyed that I just said that. But my point is, we are all driven by our desires and our beliefs. It's my belief that everyone is driven by their desires and their beliefs, their belief systems. And he was very aware of that. Pre-commit, start taking action, and systemize, understand, and then automate, and then delegate. Once you systemize your automated process, delegate it, and then trust. You've got to trust. And from there, mistakes will be made, but a lot of success will be had because you've removed yourself as the engine. At least you may still be the mastermind behind it all, but you're not necessarily the engine, the blood, sweat, and tears directly anymore. And that is, I believe, the next level. I believe that's where I'm wanting to get to. And it's going to take a lot more of this initial startup grind, work, collaboration, building, community, health, effort to get to that point. And when I say to that point, I'm saying that is that next level. That's not even going to say my life will be easier. It will likely be a lot harder, but it may be a lot better. I believe it will be a lot better. All that to be said, guys, don't fail. If you got a side hustle, you got something you're excited to start up, and it's not a fad, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Maybe it's a legitimate business, an LLC. You filed for the LLC, you got your paperwork, you already started something you've been doing for 3 years maybe, and you kind of recently, for the last month or two, have been getting bogged down with life, and you're just kind of feeling discouraged. You don't know where to turn or what to do. I want to challenge you and encourage you. Honor your commitment. Pre-commit now, if you haven't before, to a time frame that no matter what, you'll take the hits, you'll keep going, and you'll keep going, and you'll keep going. I didn't know the type of tenacity required, the type of consistency. I didn't know that is really the key. Reading Entre Leadership, in that book, he talks about a mentorship dinner he had with his financial mentor who was a billionaire plus. And the billionaire told him, Dave, every single night I would read my kids the tortoise and the hare story. And every single night I learned something new. That, to me, I was blown away by that. The reason I was blown away by that was not the humility. There's so many lessons just in those 2 sentences of he doesn't care what Dave's opinion of him is. He's not ashamed of the fact that he is learning from a kid's book. He is rereading it. There's nothing novel about that. And he is not just saying to take the lesson of consistent action, slow and steady wins the race. He said he learned something new from it every time he reads it. How 100% true that was, maybe he was stretching the truth a little bit, but his point was to teach Dave the lesson, I believe. Humility needs to always be there. The student mindset always needs to be there. Everyone we meet is an expert at something we know nothing about, and likely many things. It blows my capacity of understanding how so many people just simply refuse, or even just don't know how, to be a student with their peers, with people who are ahead of them in certain areas, who refuse to ask questions, to take things that others are putting down and run with them and saying, thank you for this knowledge. Thank you for this example. Can you help me with this? Is there anything I can help you with? How many of your peers, your relationships, your friendships even, do you know who actually do any of those things? That will kickstart, that will jumpstart. If you're in a stall right now, if you're in a rut in any capacity, or if you're just feeling discouraged today, it's one of those days, get out there and be a student. It's not cliche. It's easy to talk about. You can even tell yourself, oh, I'm a student of life. Yeah, I know this, John. Actually continue to do it. Actually continue to be it. And I'm saying this as much for myself as anyone else. Believe that. Without further ado, enjoy your week. Get something done. Enjoy it. Have fun. Laugh. Live wide open. And Godspeed. Congratulations on making it to the end of this episode. What about this episode stood out to you? Next, I need your help sharing this show. I want this podcast to impact and reach 6,000 people per episode by August 31st, 2019. And I want us to reach 15,000 people per month by March 29th, 2020. Have you been enjoying multiple episodes of The Heart Healthy Hustle? I'm thrilled to share with you an exclusive invitation to join our new Facebook community. To get to know other Heart Healthy Hustlers, simply go to thehearthealthyhustle.com/Facebook, where you can expect to see different members of our community being featured weekly in Facebook Live calls. I appreciate all of your love and support, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, be generous on every occasion. There is a story for you, and live wide open.